Alrighty, folks, welcome to tonight's edition of the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here live from NGC Studios here in South Florida, and I want to thank you so very much for joining me here tonight, wherever you are in the past, present, future hour, if you're listening on the podcast version. And it's good to be back after a week hiatus, and I will explain in a sec why I took the hiatus. Everything's fine. I'm fine. A little bit of personal drama, which I'll kind of briefly explain here in a sec. But anyway, glad to be here. Contact info as usual. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @SamDeeper_NDC. I'm finally actually getting some traction on Twitter again. After probably close to a year of just, none of my tweets showing up unless I, tag people specifically. I'm enjoying a little bit of Twitter notoriety before they shove me back in the, ether again. But anyway, at Sam Whitfield on Parler and Gab is where you can, find me at as well. Not banned there. TheSamWhitfield.com is my website, which I actually did update today. And, it was briefly just, explaining that I was on hiatus and that I'm coming back. But still, I got into the site today, folks. So, Facebook.com/Whitfield Report. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And also, folks, as Fat Keck Boy always reminds me, we are also multi-streaming on dlive.com/Whitfield Report and on Periscope. If you follow me on Twitter, you can also find me on Periscope as well. So, anyway, folks, so I took a hiatus. These last few weeks have kind of been rough. The week before last, I was banned off of Periscope right before Independence Day. I was banned off of Discord. Excuse me. And that was kind of rough. And a few of my other social media accounts were acting weird. Twitter was doing something with my tweets where they weren't actually getting sent out, but I guess it was like a glitch or something, allegedly, that they were having. And then last week when I wanted to go and Restream was not taking my stream key or anything last week, so that was bizarre, and it wouldn't work on YouTube. And Fat Kick Boy was right. I should have maybe gone over to DLive and done it exclusively there last week, but by the time I was done trying to figure all that out, it was time for me to get on with Versa Media, so I was there last week. So if you didn't catch me on here last week because I wasn't here, I was on Versa Media, Real News last week, and I'll be there again tonight as always at 11 p.m. But anyway, yeah. So, looking at the chat real quick, we have Shovel Point, Fat Heck Boy, Owen Benjamin sucks Vox off, which I will get to Mr. Benjamin in a sec here. And then, of course, Alan Powell. And yeah, I mean, Alan, I don't care that you can see down my shirt. You're not the one I'm worried. You're not the one I'm worried about seeing down my shirt. Because I know that you're straight. It's Owen that I'm worried about seeing down my shirt. So, oh, and of course, Amethyst just popped in the chat too. So, hey there, Amethyst. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, I took last week off. Part of it was the technical stuff, like I mentioned, and being banned off Discord, which was a big pain in the ass because like some of the political discords I was in, like some of the communities I was in where I actually know people, like I couldn't get back into them, even on like a new account that I totally don't have. But one of the really sucky things about being banned off Discord is even though my old account, or I should say my only account on there, even though that wasn't, even though that's been banned and I can't even log into it anymore, they still have my phone number registered on there, from like way back when I verified my phone number with them like 2 or 3 years ago. And there's no way for me to like unverify that or anything. So, that's and it's probably a good thing, because if I were to verify my number with the new account that I totally don't have, they would probably ban it as well. But anyway, that was a bummer. And then on the personal end of things too, I don't want to get into too many personal details, because it's not something that I think should be brought up on the show. But long story short, believe it or not, I actually know 2 couples in real life who are in the midst of going through divorces right now, sadly. And one of them it is what it is, and I'm sad for them and whatnot. I'm sad for both couples, but like one couple is just like doing their thing, I guess, with the divorce, and the other couple is like trying to drag me and a couple of other friends like into their respective corners, and it's just it's more or less kind of a mess. And like some of this stuff with divorces, especially and like obviously you guys know all the stuff that has happened with the Owen Benjamin drama, and the gummy candies, and all that drama, and the Bears versus the Danger Zone and all that, right? Like, you guys have seen that drama unfold live on YouTube, because it's kind of been publicly, because we've all kind of displayed that publicly, for better or for worse. But yeah, basically, like, imagine one of your friends or 2 of your friends are going through divorce, and they basically try to pull the E-drama, crap, among your, personal friend group. I just was not having it, so I kind of decided to take a little bit of a break from the internet world altogether. So that's another reason why I was, gone last week. It's just, all I can say is, I'm glad that social media did not exist when my parents were going through their divorce, because, oh man, that would have been a crap show and a half. But anyway, also another quick rant here, and I suppose we can, I'll probably clip this, make it into a segment, or someone else can. But for the umpteenth time, I want to clarify that, yes, in fact, I do wear a mask when I'm out in public, for the most part. No, I don't, no, I don't wear it all the time, unfortunately for some of you, mask-loving wearers. And I mean, honestly, I think that the virus is real, but I still think it's being overblown, a bit out of proportion. And there seems to be this weird, sort of camp out there. Well, not really a camp, but there seems to be two sides to this thing, which is that either the virus is, real and it's gonna kill us all, and you'd better wear a mask, otherwise you're gonna die, or the virus is completely fake and it's just, made up by Bill Gates and the deep state and the New World Order and, the Illuminati and whatever else, secret societies are out there. And, you're an idiot to wear a mask. Look, I'm gonna be honest here. If, like I've said in previous streams, I don't need a mask to walk around my neighborhood, or in my case, roll around my neighborhood. So I'm sorry, if you guys have seen any of the videos I've done, kind of the vlogs I've done where I'm out, rolling around in the neighborhood. Oh, why is he wearing a mask? Because I'm not in a largely populated area, dumbasses. I don't need a mask when I'm in my neighborhood, and no one else is around me, so it's stupid. On the other hand, if I go into a mall or something, which I don't know when the next time that's going to be, because all of the malls are closed, then obviously I'm gonna wear a mask. Then, and it's not even so much look, I don't know if the mask is effective or not. I don't, I'm not even wearing it because it makes me feel better. I just wear masks, and honestly, it's not even the full N95 thing. I basically just wear a bandana or something. That's what I do. I basically do it for the places that require you to wear, coverings. But there's still so much to this, coronavirus that we still don't know. Other than that it does exist. I still think that the Chi-Coms are behind it. Um, but I'm not gonna lose sleep on it one way or the another. Yeah, well, yeah. Alan brings up a good point. He says I have to take my mask off to use Apple Pay anyway. Yeah, well, and as someone who has both an iPhone and with Face ID and an iPad Pro with Face ID, yeah, I'm in the same boat. But here's the other thing. I honestly, whenever I do shopping now, and I know December Reloaded, and I know that he is not going to like this, but I will say that Amazon Prime, my subscription, has paid for itself. Like I am a homebody anyway. If I can stay home and order stuff, I'm going to. But if I can stay home and just order stuff online and have it, delivered in 2 days, there's no way I'm not going to do it. And it's not just it's not just a COVID thing. It's just I like having stuff delivered to my house whenever I can. It's addictive opening Amazon packages, or even like getting my Apple products delivered in the mail. I will say I spent my Trump bucks on an iPad Pro and then the one of the keyboards, and I'll admit that was fun to get off the door off the doorstep. It wasn't as fun as going to the Apple store and actually setting up there, but I mean I'm technical enough. I know how to do that. But unfortunately, Owen Benjamin, yeah, to answer your question, do they deliver beer? No, unfortunately, Opie sucks box off. They deliver beer. They do deliver beer via Drizzly or whatever that app is called where you can order beer. But you have to order $30 worth of beer. Basically I would have to order a small pallet of beer or something. And then so I have to spend $30. And then it costs another $30 just to get that delivered. And I'm not Owen, okay? I actually do not drink that much. To the point where I can just throw beer cans all around. Because I mean, believe me, if I didn't know my own limits and if I thought I were invincible, I probably would. You would probably just see beer cans all over the place here, and then also cigarette packs. But yeah. Well, and then Fluffy Phil brings up a good point. That fuck all the robots are going to. Well, I mean. Yeah, but I don't. I mean, mannequins creep me the fuck out, Dictator Phil. So, and I've seen Blade Runner. I've seen the movie Blade Runner too many times to where that shit weirds me out. So, yeah, and I think that the the sex androids are going to certainly decimate China's population. But I'm okay with that. But I don't think it's going to I don't think that's going to catch on here. I just don't see that becoming a thing at all. But Owen would be the first one for Owen Benjamin's sex box off. Owen would be the first one to buy a sex robot, probably. I am willing to bet you money that he would. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with that one too. Humanity isn't what it's cracked up to be. But yeah, I mean, like, I think way too many people have seen Blade Runner for that, not to be an issue. So, oh, and Sean pops in the chat right as I'm talking about Blade Runner and the sex robots. Excellent. So, yeah. I made a joke about all of the rooms. Okay, so I have not covered Owen honestly for like 2 months now, and one of the bears was actually commenting to me. So what do you think of what do you think of the fact that Owen actually won his Patreon lawsuit? Which, I don't know if he actually did win his Patreon lawsuit. I think it just, they showed up, an impasse or whatever. But, Patreon's not gone. They didn't break Patreon. My account is still there, and everyone who wasn't banned is already there. That company is not going out of business anytime soon. But, yeah. Look, I don't care really enough about, Owen's Patreon lawsuit to where, I would have been bummed out if he won or, if he had lost, it would have laughed my ass off, but, I guess, for, whatever reason, even if Patreon, didn't end up seeing him, I would have been no, okay, whatever. The Bertaria thing with him, wanting to buy a campground now. I mean, come on. We all saw that one coming a mile away. I mean, this was the inevitable conclusion that he would eventually, buy a campground or, something like that and just totally... Look, we haven't been making Jonestown bear jokes for the latter part of 2 years just for our own sanity here, for our own amusement. There's in every Owen joke, there's a nugget of truth, and the Jonestown thing is no longer a joke. It is becoming a reality. I mean, we've already seen him, tell people to drink turpentine to jack up their power level. Pretty soon they're all going to be in campgrounds together, and it's going to be, it's going to be a whole thing. Amazingly enough, there are still idiots out there who are Owen is a bona fide conservative, and I'm you haven't been paying attention for the last 3 years to anything, have you? But, like Alan said, we all knew a commune was coming. The reason I haven't covered Bertaria at all is simply because there's really nothing for me to cover. We all knew that this was going to happen. But, it's still amusing to make fun of. Let's see. Fluffy Phil, the features on the. Okay, Phil, do you have something you want to like tell that you want to show with the class? Did you buy a sex robot, Phil? I'm gonna ask you that on real news. That's good. That's gonna be my first question. So, because now you've got me curious. So. So and now it says well, I'm not sure I should repeat what Ellen says out loud in the chat, but good try. Oh dear God, you guys are the worst. You guys are simultaneously the best and worst audience, and by worst I mean most perverted audience that I know of. Well, nah. I think Stern's audience still has us beat. None of you guys have petitioned me to get Jenna Jameson in here yet. Although I'm pretty sure all of the Zoomers out there are probably like, who is he referencing? So that is an old reference, and yes, as Christian Blatt has noted, yeah, Dennis Miller is one of my influences. So in terms of pop culture references, I am now the Dennis Miller of 90s and 2000s pop culture references. You're welcome. But anyway, enough of me blathering. I actually do have some political stuff I do want to gab about a little bit. So let me open up a new tab. Let me open up a new tab or a new window here. Let me make sure. Okay. Roger Stone, I guess, got released from prison, or no, he got his sentence commuted by President Trump, and the left is, well, and the neocons too, are shitting bricks over the fact that Roger Stone got released. Also, I have no idea who the Gladstein Maxwell chick is, but if she does have stuff on all these pedophiles, I hope they can keep her alive. I hope she doesn't get Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the thing. I don't think they're going to suicide her. I think that if they did, that would be stupid. People already got suspicious with Jeffrey Epstein, right? The deep state, I don't think, they may be somewhat stupid, but they're not completely stupid enough to try the, Epstein thing with Gladstein Maxwell. At least I don't think. But, anyway. So let me go to, let's see what we have here. Also, I just found out I can add a filter to the mic setting. So yeah, noise. Yeah, I can add a noise gate to this thing. So Okay, I don't know if this will help or not, but hopefully it will. And then let me go here. All right, we are good to go. And I have not seen this yet. This is what we call show prep on the fly here, folks. But this is, I guess this is Stone's. This is his first interview after the commutation from Trump. So this came 4 days ago from Fox News. I haven't watched this, so I'll play this and kind of break it down. I also recently bought Milo's new book on Roger Stone. I haven't had the chance to listen to the audiobook yet, but I will. So I'm curious what old Raj has to say for himself.
As we told you, President Trump announced Friday he was commuting the sentence of Roger Stone. Just days
Oh
before
God!
Stone was set to start.
Oh God! It's Sean Hannity. Oh God! I should have watched. Okay, well, I don't like. Yeah, I don't like Hannity, but for the purposes of this, I guess I'll have to sit through and bear it a little bit.
Start a 3+ year prison sentence stemming from Robert Mueller's Russian witch hunt. Remember, Stone was convicted of process crimes relating to 2017 and statements he made to House lawmakers. In other words, lying before Congress. Adam Schiff presiding, the biggest liar in Congress. Now, neither the Schiff show nor Robert Mueller produced one bit of evidence that Stone was working with anybody colluding with Russia. And by the way, as the White House press secretary explained, quote, these charges were the product of recklessness born of frustration and malice. And it is now Roger Stone, first TV interview, and his attorney, David Schoen. I would like to say to you, Roger, while I'm glad you had your sentence commuted and you're not headed to prison this week, there's a part of me that is also very angry and very concerned for the country based on the entire handling of your matter. Why don't I just let you say it in your own words, what this has been like for you?
Well, this is the most horrible experience you can have because I see immediately why 99% of the people who choose to plead not guilty and go to trial lose. When you're up against the horrific and deep-pocketed resources of the federal government and these really sadistic, arrogant, politically motivated prosecutors, I had a biased judge, I had a stacked jury, I had a corrupt jury forewoman. As my friend Tucker Carlson said, my trial was over before it started. When you go through something like this, Sean, you find out who your real friends are and who the people are who really never were your friends. You have been a tremendous friend. You have done a great job of keeping people informed, but I have to really single out your Fox News colleague, Tucker Carlson. He took up the cudgels early. He stayed on this case with every twist and turn, wasn't afraid to take on the judge, laid out the jury question. It encouraged me when I got discouraged. He's a man of incredible loyalty, and he's a great friend. He may be the best friend a man can have. So my hat's off to him. And also Congressman Matt Gaetz from Florida, who I hope to live long enough to see in the White House. He was a great friend who never gave up in trying to make sure everybody understood the injustice.
Now, I want to point out something here because this is kind of humorous. A bit that Roger immediately praises Tucker Carlson on Sean's show because, I'm not in the media. I do know. Well, I mean, technically I am in the media. That's what this podcast is. But, since I'm not in, News Corp's business or, since I'm not part of the mainstream media, I guess, I'm independent. But with that being said, I do know people who actually work for Fox, like they're behind the scenes people or who have worked there before. And from what I'm told, Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity do not get along very well at all because, Tucker Carlson, like him or not, show basically stole Sean's rating spot on Fox News. So, it's kind of funny to me that I would have loved to have seen Sean's expression when Roger said, I'd like to thank Tucker Carlson. I would have loved to have seen and heard Sean's inner monologue. It would have probably been something like, damn it, you mentioned, why does Tucker always get the credit around here or something? But, yeah. And, like I said, I haven't read or rather listened to Milo's book on Roger Stone's trial. But it's only 4 hours long, so I probably will listen to that this week. I might even, tomorrow's Sunday. Knowing me, I could, maybe I'll actually end up listening to that whole audiobook in a single sitting. I don't know. But that will probably come up on Thursday's podcast. No doubt about that.
That I had been through, but so many others. Bernie Carrick, the former New York police commissioner, and Charlie Kirk, Reverend Franklin Graham, pastors Mark Burns, and Randy Coggins, a dynamic young evangelist from Florida, the entire Flynn family, General Mike Flynn, a man who's still being persecuted. My hat's off to all of them because they helped me and my wife and my family through the scariest, most difficult process of you can imagine. But above all, I must tell you, Sean, based on advice from you and Reverend Graham and the two pastors I mentioned, I really want to thank God because I was literally hours away from being sent to a COVID-infested prison in violation of the current Bureau of Prisons and DOJ policies, in violation of every precedent in the country where people going to jail or in jail were asking for compassionate release, and in every case, it was granted. I'm 67 years old. I've had a lifelong problem of respiratory problems. I was facing what I really believed was a near-death sentence. So you, particularly Tucker, Matt Gaetz, and everybody I named, my heart goes out to you. I'm deeply, deeply grateful. But more than anything else, I'm grateful for God because, as you told me, if I would rededicate my life to Christ, if I would be reborn, I can remember it like it was yesterday. And your advice was as solid as could be. You said God will never desert you. He will never abandon you. He will protect you if you confess your sins and you walk in His way. And I have done my very best to do that.
Let me go through, and I want you to tell people, because there's this whole system of justice where you can use Sammy the Bull Gravano as the biggest case in point. He commits 19 murders, and he's given a get-out-of-jail-free card in a witness protection program because he flipped on John Gotti. All right, put that aside for a second. In your case, did Mueller and his team offer anything of value? Your freedom, for example, I would argue is of great value if you would say certain things they wanted you to say, whether they were true or not.
Well, in the beginning of the case, Sean, I don't think that was their intention. But as they got closer and closer to having to issue the Mueller report, and they realized that they had no Russian collusion because there was no Russian collusion, it was a hoax. On July 24th, Jeannie Rhee, who was heading my prosecution within the Mueller team, that's extraordinary in itself because she previously represented Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation in the illegal email server case and the missing email case. So she had a clear bias. She was a maximum donor to both of Hillary's presidential campaigns. By the way, she has all the charm of a North Korean prison guard. She made it very clear to one of my lawyers after a hearing she asked to see him privately that if I would remember certain phone conversations I had with candidate Trump, if I would come clean, if I would confess, that they might be willing to, recommend leniency to the judge. Perhaps I wouldn't even serve any jail time. And I didn't have to think about it very long. I said, absolutely not. There was no circumstance under which I would bear false witness against the president. I was just not willing to lie. Now, in the last 2 days, when I said that, people said, you see, Stone had the goods on Trump, and he traded his silence for a commutation. That is patently false. I never said that. I never implied that. What I said has been consistent, that I would not lie against my friend of 40 years so they could use it for impeachment. They want.
And, I mean, what he's saying, I would assume, has to be true here, right? Because there is absolutely no Russian collusion. I mean, we've basically, even the Democrats now have basically had to admit that Russian collusion never existed whatsoever at all. They've had to admit that. And so basically, if what Roger's saying is true, basically, Mueller wanted him to purge himself and commit perjury by lying about the president. It is basically my understanding. And look, I have my opinions about Roger Stone. He definitely is kind of maybe a shady guy, morally, but I mean, kind of in the same way that Trump is. I mean, he's not really a bad guy, but I think Roger has also kind of had a past of being adulterous and being flirtatious like Trump. I mean, he and Trump are both tabloid magnates in the in the 80s, and I mean, I think Roger even goes back to the 70s or something. And he used to be a big voice in the college of Republicans back during Nixon's days. He's actually the one who has the tattoo of Richard Nixon, which is actually, I will say this. Roger Stone and I do agree on Nixon, that Nixon was not a bad president. I actually get flagged a lot because I actually think that we could have won Vietnam had Nixon stayed in office. And, I do think that Watergate was kind of a conspiracy. But anyway, that's another podcast for another time, if you guys are curious about my thoughts on the whole Watergate scandal. So,
wanted me to be the ham in their ham sandwich because they knew the Mueller report, particularly on Russia, was a dud. It was a goose egg. They had nothing, and they were hoping that I would recharacterize my phone calls. I think these phone calls that were plea bargain induced claims by Michael Cohen and Rick Gates, for which they could never find any corroboration, and I simply refused to do it.
Let me go to you, David Schoen, and I'll ask you both the same question simultaneously. Roger, I think I've known you well enough over the years. You're a fighter. Your instincts are going to be, okay, now I'm going to go back, and maybe if you go back and you appeal this and you open up this case again, I would argue right now you're home free. And I think that I saw nothing but corruption in that courtroom by that judge and that jury, and not giving you another trial. David, I would say that if you go forward with that, you are now putting Roger's life back in jeopardy again. And I don't know. I don't have any faith in that system. I don't have any faith in that judge. I don't have any faith with that jury. Nobody on this case do I believe is honorable here.
Yeah, I think you're right. You raise a very interesting question and a perplexing one. We have to sit down and make a decision as to whether to go forward with the appeal, knowing that a win in this case, and there should be a win, classic Fifth and Sixth Amendment violations, would go right back to the same judge and a courtroom of injustice. Let me just say this to you. This commutation is a great tribute to President Trump for 3 reasons. He sends the message that the Mueller team was rotten to the core from its inception. When Mr. Mueller picked Andrew
I've been saying
Weissman
that
as
for
his
over
right...
3 years, David.
Well, you're right.
It.
You don't pick an investigation that involves the President of the United States requires integrity. You don't pick an Andrew Weissman, who's the most ethically bankrupt prosecutor I've ever come across. I represent 2 men right now, Mr. Arena, Mr. Sessa, who were wrongfully convicted with him. You talked about making deals with witnesses. He lied about those deals. He was mentioned specifically by a judge for his misconduct. So that's one thing. The Mueller team was rotten to the core, filled with partisans. Number 2, an unfair trial. The president recognized that. The judge denied the entire defense theory. Mr. Stone wasn't allowed to mention on social media or make a defense theory that in any way challenged the integrity of the Mueller team. Unprecedented. And thirdly, the president saved a life here because the judge's decision on denying a surrender extension when COVID was in the prison and with these health conditions goes against all authority in the country on this issue, as did the Court of Appeals.
You know, I'm listening to your attorney, and I know David a long time, Roger. I've known you a long time. And you're a character. Everybody knows you're a character. But that's not about you as a character. I would want a fair and impartial jury for everybody. I wouldn't want any Democrat or liberal to have 29 guys in tactical gear over a process crime. I wouldn't want a gag order on any American. They should have a right to speak out in their own defense. I wouldn't want a jury foreperson as prejudiced or a judge that went along with this crap. My question to you is, we've seen this now with Papadopoulos. We've now seen this with Paul Manafort. We saw it with General Flynn. We've seen it with you. I'll be honest, Roger. I believe in our Constitution. I believe in our rule of law. I think I read a lot about equal justice and application of our laws. I don't see any of this in any of these cases. I see a travesty of injustice. You've been a part of it. I don't know. I'm losing faith in the system, Roger.
Well, you have a good reason to. I mean, you examine the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, where I had to file a last-minute emergency appeal of Judge Jackson's rule sending me to jail. She ignored all the legal precedents in that. She ignored my health conditions. She ignored the conditions at the prison at that time. And she ignored the current policies of DOJ and the BOP. Now, you would have thought that that would have been reversed in the appeals court, but they ruled for her 3-0. I'm afraid this is a fixed system. Above all, though, I guess I'd have to say the most important thing here is the courageousness of the president's act. I know there were many, many, many people who told him in an election year, don't do this. Let Roger Stone wait maybe for a pardon after the election. Sean, I don't think I would have lived that long, not with my asthmatic condition, not with now 60 COVID-19 cases in that prison. So I have deep, deep affection for Donald Trump because I've known him 40 years. He's a man of great justice and fairness. He's a man of enormous courage. I knew he would take some shots for this, but I think most people, most fair-minded people understand. He saved my life. And, at least on paper, he gave me a chance to fight for vindication. Now, I'm not a fool. I'm going to be guided by the advice of my lawyers. As I understand it, if my conviction is overturned by the appeals court, I'd be back in front of Judge Jackson. Judge Jackson issued an incredible ruling that said that I could not raise misconduct by the special counsel, the FBI, the DOJ, or any member of Congress, Adam Schiff. So, I mean, if that were in place in General Flynn's case, we still wouldn't know how he was railroaded. We still wouldn't know about the political motivations behind taking him down. So I've got to become convinced I can get a fair second trial, because I certainly didn't get a fair first trial.
You had a gag order, and you weren't allowed to even put on your defense. You wanted to put on a defense. They denied you that right. Then, of course, we have the whole jury foreperson. This is on top of the raid, pre-dawn raid. By the way, I'm sure you probably called CNN, Roger, and said that. Here is, I do not believe you can get any fair trial in that courtroom or that system. I don't know. I think that probably every fiber of your being would want to be to fight to get the acquittal you believe you should get. But I don't know if I'd give you that advice, because I don't think there's anybody in that courtroom that is fair, Roger.
Well, and as you point out, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, McCabe, Strzok, Page, Rosenstein, Mueller himself, Hillary, they all lied under oath, but they lied about material things, consequential things. Therefore, they had an intent and a motive to lie. I was charged with making misstatements that were innocuous. And if you look at it very carefully, it's very clear what happened here. And that is that Aaron Zelinsky, the corrupt prosecutor, the dirtiest of Mueller's dirty cops, other than Weissman, shared the fruits of the surveillance into me with Adam Schiff so that he could fashion gotcha questions, most of them of no consequence. And then after the setup, in which I appeared voluntarily.
So again, folks, this all ties back into the non-existent Russia narrative that Roger Stone was somehow, like, I don't know, siphoning information off to the KGB or something on Trump's behalf. That's what this entire thing was basically about. And I mean, even the Democrats now have to admit that there is nothing, no evidence whatsoever to really support that whatsoever. So, this is a falsehood. Now, the interesting thing is, Roger Stone's sentence has been commuted, so I don't know if that means that he's free or, that he has to go back to trial, but I mean, it does seem like an absolute shit show, for him, and this is the nature of politics. But I mean, also at this point, folks, we don't even know if there's going to be an election, or really what the election is going to look like in 2020. I mentioned this on Twitter, but kind of going back onto a non-political, topic here. And by the way, folks, streamlabs.com/the Whitfield Report, if you feel so inclined to, donate to the chat. As I mentioned, we don't know how long this COVID thing is going to go, folks. It could honestly, we could honestly be seeing like, for example, and I'm trying to pull this stuff up here as well, but we could see, in the future, that like movie theaters are not going to be opening up for the foreseeable future at all. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen at all. They just postponed the latest James Bond movie again. It was supposed to come out in, April of this year. And then obviously once, the lockdown happened in March, that got postponed to November. But now they're pushing it like to 2021, I think. And my point in bringing up the, Bond movie is like, well, obviously I'm disappointed about that. But more than that, if we can't even go and have like, and go to see like, movies in the theater in November, then how are people going to go and, vote in person for an election. And yeah, I know people are saying that it's going to be a mail-in ballot election most likely, but I don't see how that's going to I don't see how that's going to happen without like massive fraud on either side. Like, everyone I've spoken to who's an election expert does not want to do that because of fraud. And if they think that 2016 was bad with that potentially, then it could get even worse. So, I mean, will we have an election? Maybe. We probably will, but just it's a question of how we do it. I mean, honestly, I think that if they're good enough to if the country is healthy enough to get out there and vote, then they should also be healthy enough to get out there and open up businesses again and whatnot. So yeah. Shovel Point brings up a good point. Regardless of who wins the election, the next 4 years will be... Yeah, well, I mean, that's the real question, isn't it, Shovel Point? Because, I mean, I always hate to ask this question because I always end up getting immediately disappointed exponentially. But, I mean, we've already hit bottom of the barrel. How much, how much worse can it get over the next 4 years? Yeah. Oh yeah, well, and that's the other thing that Johnny brought up. So thanks for reminding me. Yeah. So in regards to the whole Kanye West thing and the fact that he's running, yeah, people have asked me about that. My take on the whole Kanye West thing. Hey, I mean, let's just face it. The fact that Kanye is running is hilarious in and of itself, and people think that he's going to, run and split the election on Trump's behalf, and that like somehow they're colluding. I don't think that they're colluding, and to me, this is not one of Trump's 40 chess strategies, but it does seem that he's running more against the Democrat Party than against Trump. And I know a lot of people who will vote for Kanye over Biden, that's for sure. So I think the fact that Kanye is, going to split the vote, I think that's good. And the fact that he's got the signatures that he needs is going to, be good. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and Johnny's also, a lot of people say Trump is another wing of the same bird. Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, you and I are in agreement. Trump is Trump, and yeah, I mean, sometimes Trump does annoy me, like everyone else, with the tweets and whatnot, but I mean, like, by and large, you have to think about it this way. It took coronavirus to shut down Trump's economy, basically. Like, the economy under Trump was booming, and the country was doing extremely well. it took COVID basically to get Trump's economy where Obama's economy was at the end of his in the middle of Obama's term. We were at the we were at where we are now at the end of Obama's first presidential term without any COVID. That was why I was urging people back in 2012 to vote for Romney. It wasn't because I liked Mitt Romney. It was because I felt we needed to get Obama out of there back then, and that obviously didn't happen. I mean, Trump did resurrect, the economy after he got back into office, and then made it soar. Now we are kind of in a depression again, but that's because of COVID. Yeah. Kanye gonna interrupt Biden at the debate like he did Tay-Tay. Oh yeah. Well, and believe it or not, folks, that was actually the first time I liked Kanye West, was when he interrupted interrupted Taylor Swift. I mean, I'll make no bones about it. I hate Taylor Swift. And I mean, since we're in the age of of digging each other's skeletons out of our closet, I'll just confess that the reason why I hate Taylor Swift is because I have an ex-girlfriend who looks like a carbon copy of Taylor Swift, and yeah, and that bitch broke my heart in more ways than one. So and she was also obsessed with Taylor Swift too. So yeah. Not a fan at all. Plus her music sucks. Plus my ex-girlfriend had horrible. Well, I mean, she liked Taylor Swift, so that says enough about her music taste right there. But yeah. You mean to tell me that Taylor Swift is better than The Clash or? I mean, I wasn't even a big fan of Duran, but, I mean, come on. Duran is still infinitely better than, Taylor Swift. Let's see. I should write a song. I should write a song. But I have to admit that my songwriting skills are probably about. Well, no, my songwriting skills are better than Owen's songwriting skills, but that's not saying all that much. So, but I mean, I could probably make something on like Procreate or something. So, I don't know. Hey, Brad from Carolina, what's up? So, let's see. Speaking of all things Owen, I did want to get on to this, so like I said, I've ignored the Bertaria stuff for a bit, but at this point I can't. It's unavoidable now at this point in time. Yeah. Yeah, the over the pants hand job in a Walgreens. Oh god, yeah, that was horrible. So I kind of, well, no, I'm not. I was gonna make a joke about that, but yeah. But Victoria, it's in your heart. You get nothing for your donation. Yeah. Well, and see, that's why I haven't donated anything, Johnny. I mean, we were the chat and we were joking earlier in the stream that, I mean, Bertaria is obviously the inevitable, cult thing, but yeah, I just realized I titled this thing "Cancel Culture Will Crumble," and I haven't talked about cancel culture once, so I'll probably rename the title of this stream afterwards. But I've been known to do that before. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, speaking of Veritari, I had no idea who lifted who. Well, actually, I kind of did. I had heard of lifts I can't speak. I had heard of Lift the Veil, like, in other people's, like, YouTube streams, but I had never, like, checked him out, up until the legendary Milker Nation, friend of the channel, friend of the podcast, did a video in which Owen starts, basically harassing, Lift the Veil. It is I mean, I say this every time when I bring up Owen, but it just progressively keeps getting worse. It is one of the gayest things I have seen in quite a while. So, Milker. Yeah, Owen Bent.
That's blood is screaming.
So, yeah, this comes from Milker Nation. Obviously, I'm not going to play the whole section of this because I do want to set up the next hour stream for Versa Media, but I do want to play like a couple minutes of this just to get my take. There is one specific section I want to play for you guys. Because, when we talk Owen here, it is unavoidable to talk about Owen without, calling the kettle black, I guess.
What's about? Just made a clipping. Yeah, he's clipping his dick. He can't talk shit. He's banned for right. He's making clips of you talking. Why would he do that? God damn it! Why would he do that? It doesn't make any sense. Oh well, things don't make sense. It's all good. Oh, look at Owen spiraling. Look at. I never would do that to anybody. I would never go into someone's chat and be like, I'm gonna humiliate him in my chat. All right, Cod handled that right quick. Nice. I shouldn't have even brought it up. Sorry for bringing that up. That guy emailed me before. Is that the same guy who's on YouTube? All right. He was talking crap about you yesterday on his stream. Oh, Jesus. Why? Because I'm trying to do something positive? If the veil has a super tiny ween that women can't stop laughing at. Can you verify that, Kaintenoso? Because he's a...
Again, it always comes back to the dick jokes with this guy, and not even good dick jokes. I mean, this man is Oh my God! I was watching this today. I can basically scroll at any point, and we'll just see where this goes. Like I just skipped 5 minutes ahead, and let's see where we're at now.
Yeah, people are loving the veil synchronicity. Lift the Veil is a major Gamma Secret King, and this is from a very trusted source. I listened to 2 minutes of him back in the Gamma Swarm days and wanted to throw up. Wow, Lift the Veil synchronicity was epic. God lifted the veil on that fag. Haha. Yeah, I can't stop smiling. Dear Owen, hope all is well at Ursa Manor. Just writing again to say thank you for all the encouragement you give the Bears. I started my first garden this summer. Man, I feel like I'm going to cry right now. Fuck. Sorry. All right. And when I saw that you could just make things... fuck. Sorry. Everyone's gay. Shapiri. This reminds me when BB was getting the very first letter.
The 7 minute mark? Okay,
yeah,
let me go. Let me go there.
Yeah, but I started to cry a little bit, which is a little gay. Synchronicity was epic. God lifted the veil on that fag. Haha. Yeah, I can't stop smiling. Dear Owen, hope all is well at Ursa Manor. Just writing again to say thank you for all the encouragement you give the Bears. I started my first garden this summer. Man, I feel like I'm going to cry right now. Fuck. Sorry. All right. And when I saw that you could just make things... sorry. Everyone's gay. Superior. This reminds me when BB was getting the very first letters back in the day. Lots of excitement. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but
He is the only guy who is so self-absorbed with himself. It's funny. Everyone is gay. Everyone is gay except for me. So I won't cry. I mean that streamer talked to his dad last year for like what, 3 hours, just screaming about his gay dad. That was telling, right?
Starting to cry a little bit, which is a little gay. Dude, I get lonely. It's one reason why I live stream all the time. It's like sometimes Ryan's working and everybody's gone. My wife's teaching my kids something, and some people are like, yeah, I'll come over. I'm like, I don't know you, and that scares my wife. So I just kind of do my own thing. And I just wait for Lift the Veil to try and suck my dick. That's the thing about these gammas, like Lift the Veil. It's like, they're flirting. It's like, dude, I'm not going to let you suck my dick, dude. Tormented man, totally. Like, Lift the Veil comes in here to flirt. He comes in here because he thinks I'm going to let him suck my dick. And it's fucking gross. Dude, I love it. I mean, I love that, people get to see how to handle flirting. Like, Lift the Veil comes in. It's called negging in the gay community. So Lift the Veil comes in. He's like, hey, Big Bear. I'm Lift the Veil. Do you want to lift the veil and see what I got? I'm like, close the veil, close the veil. He's like, and this is how my life always goes, by the way. It's like, someone will come.
Okay, now, I apologize because unfortunately this is YouTube and not Pornhub, but this should totally be on Pornhub. It was at this point, folks, where I was simultaneously grossed out and laughing my ass off. There is absolutely no projection whatsoever. So, yeah.
Come in and talk shit. I win at talking shit. Then they clip it and go, look at him attacking me. Everyone sees it. Black Lives Matter, the Grab Wars, all of it. We're all so sick of the no, he's hitting me. It's like, dude, Lift the Veil wants me to lift his veil, and then he wants to suck my dick. And he's a gay, weird dude. This is flirting. We all know it's flirting. It's like, I'm here to neg you. That's not how men act. That's not, it's like, oh, it's my marketing strategy, Big Bear. What's your marketing strategy? It's like begging for money. It's like, you're flirting with me. Close the veil. Lower the veil. Lower the veil. Oh, you don't like my how I flirt? And he's the type of guy that wants to suck my dick. Like, that's the thing that people are.
Again, Mr. Self-Projection here. Oh, good God. I have, oh, God. Yeah, he recently said he's not sure if his dad is gay. Yeah, no, I saw that, and yeah, you're absolutely right. But I mean, obviously he's self-projecting his own fantasy onto you know, onto lift the veil. You know, who honestly, like, I've never seen one of Lift the Veil's streams. I don't know, you know, really who Lift the Veil is or what he does, but I mean, clearly only Owen Benjamin could make something, you know, like a pornographic innuendo, you know, on something like that. Not just like a pornographic innuendo, because I mean, I could maybe do those too, but more definitely like a gay pornographic innuendo at that. But yeah, it keeps getting weirder. Okay, so let me jump to the let's see where we're at here. Okay, we're at like what, 9:30. Let me just jump to like, okay, 12:05 and see where we're at now. Jump ahead a bit. So I jumped like 3 minutes ahead.
Oh, Jesus, someone catch me. Gay guys who marry beautiful women, it's called having a beard. Oh, yeah. Because the girl thinks they scored. The girl's like, this guy likes to shop. He's like, he gets it. He's strong. He works out all the time. He's in such great shape. He understands style and fashion. He wants to wait till marriage. Don't get me wrong, I want people to wait till marriage. But it's like, this is perfect. He's super Christian. He never wants to touch me. He loves shopping, loves working out, loves negging giant men. He's so courageous. Look at him trying to start a fight with this giant man. He wants me to fuck him. This is what people don't understand about Crowder and these guys. It's like, oh, look at him. He's the perfect man. He saves it for marriage. Don't get me wrong, good idea, but he's doing it for the wrong ways. He wants to save it for marriage. And then he like runs around ankle biting giants because he's so tough. And no, he's not tough. Lift the Veil is
yeah,
like,
the ankle biting giants, that's completely Owen's self-protection. I've never heard a woman like ever attribute that to a trick. Owen's doing satire, Sam. Yeah, even in satire that doesn't work. So, you want to know what does work in jokes though, even dirty jokes? Tits.
No, I'm running away from you. I'm running away. Please don't catch me and have your way with me. And so then his wife is like, where's my babies? And the guy's like, we got to save it till marriage. She's like, we've been married a year. Why won't you touch me? It's like, well, I have to lift the veil on the world. I have so much important things to do out there. The deep state is coming for me. I can't bring a child in this world. It's like, oh, fuck, you're gay. Oh, fuck, he's been gay the whole time. That's why he's in shape. That's why he likes fashion. That's why he's
Again, Mr. Self-Projection Bear here. He's talking at himself the whole entire time. That's what's so hilarious about this whole thing.
He's always trying to start fights with giants. He wants them to let him suck his dick. Oh my God, he's a gay guy. And he's like, lift the veil. Right? Am I wrong? Everyone knows I'm not wrong. But don't you know, my cat just died. It's like Steven Crowder obsessed for
Okay,
months
so let me
and months and months
scroll
about his dead dog.
forward
Dude,
to lift the veil's response, because basically Owen goes on and on and on about this for like, I don't know, like 20 minutes of this clip. So, okay, let's see, where does lift the veil start? Okay, here, I think, yeah.
gotta feel like I'm, the hungry dog hunts best. If I'd eaten a nice meal, I would have been like, oh, no way. Hey, man. Oh, he made a clip. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to take a nap.
I have a few different things interested in today. Oh, for everybody who's concerned about the about the Owen Benjamin situation, by the way, let me put your concerns at ease. I reached out to the man himself, even though I didn't have to or anything. I just told him, I said, hey, Big Bear, just wanted to clear things up. I said, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't talking shit about you on my channel. It's cool. I just mentioned Bertaria, and I said it was kind of a
It's
crazy
Bertaria.
idea. And then I tagged that video because I thought, I didn't tell him like I totally agreed with everything he said or anything, or thought Bertaria was awesome. But I just said his viewers, this is the problem, and I've gotten into this problem before, is your listeners in the chat will always try to stir the pot.
Yes, unfortunately, we're in the bot, it still is a thing.
Like, what? What'd they say? Oh, that guy, oh, that guy's the worst. I hate that guy. And then it turns out they didn't really say anything that bad. And then you ended up in the middle of like some kind of internet dispute based on your chat. That's kind of what happened with, that's kind of what happened with Owen Benjamin, I think. Somebody told him I was making fun of him on my channel, and I really wasn't. I did mention Bertaria, but Bertaria, Bertaria is really interesting because it's sort of like everybody's idea, like, oh, wouldn't it be great, if we just, because the world's so crazy and, we're so cool and you guys are awesome, and wouldn't it be great if we could all like live like in the same place, like, I don't know, not a commune or anything. It wouldn't be a cult, but, we'd grow food and have campfires and it would just be awesome. Like everybody has that idea at some point. But then usually they're like, oh, that's crazy. Or once you realize that some of the people that like you the most.
Yeah, it is crazy.
A little sideways on you. Once you learn a few things, then you realize it's not a good idea. It doesn't really work very well. Besides the fact that, who wants to maintain a campground, for example? So that's the only reason I brought it up. Is because I wouldn't call it well, maybe I would. It's a bad idea. It wasn't ever a good idea. But I'm not one of those guys who's trying to go out and just expose people or make fun of people. I thought it was interesting enough that I haven't watched that show for a long time. And somebody told me that he was planning to do something like that. And I was like, what? And I tuned in. So, but again, I got no problems with Owen Benjamin. I told him I wish him luck with everything, and I do. And as far as all the things, I'm just a really, the problem with me is I'm a really sympathetic guy. And even people that have really done me wrong in the past, I always have like a soft spot for them for some reason. One person, for example, is Defango, and I'm always forgiving of their behavior because I think, where it's coming from, and they think they're doing the right thing, and maybe they're bipolar, or maybe they're just maybe they're a narcissist or something. It's not
I
their fault.
think probably because he's reading the chat random bot.
Forgive
I mean, I do that
I
too
can
sometimes.
recognize it
I'll
because
look
I
off
am a
camera
flawed
because
person
like I've
too,
got
and
something
I've done
with the show
stupid
notes
things
on my
before, too. That's
iPad or something.
So I've done really stupid things that people could genuinely be critical of in the past. And I can understand the mindset that allows a thing like that to happen. So.
Okay, yeah, so basically, like, lift the veil, Nathan here, and I guess he was in Cecil B. Demented, according to Johnny Arcade. I've never seen that movie. I've never even heard of it, and I mean, I guess it's like a crappy movie, but yeah, it's still better than the House Bunny, which yeah. Someone actually brought up the House Bunny to me the other day, like in a Zoom like chat that we were all in. Someone brought that movie up, and I was like, it's horrible. And they were like, yeah, but and I'm like, no, I mean, yeah, Anna Kendrick's in it. Yes, there are Playboy playmates in it, but yeah, it's a horrible, bad movie. Yep. That should have also been a big hint way back in the day. Owen even managed to make Playboy gay somehow. Which, I mean, they kind of, after Hef died, that mag basically went into the toilet, but that's a whole nother topic. So, yeah, I'm not gonna play the whole entire thing, but, let's see, any more from Owen?
Remember, Lift the Veil came in and tried to clip my channel and troll a little bit.
No, he didn't, Owen.
Here's the email I got from Lift the Veil. He said, "Clear up. I think you got the impression from your chat that I was mocking you on my show. So I just wanted to let you know that I really wasn't. I mentioned Bertaria briefly at the end of my news show because I think it's a wild idea, but I'm not spending time trying to expose you or anything. Guys, he's such a flirt. Yesterday, I just clipped the letter from the person who thanked you for telling them not to wear a mask because I think that's the worst advice ever. But I didn't mean to make it public in the chat and make a scene. I have no personal issues with you and wish you luck with everything, Nathan." So I know I said he was a full-blown gay guy. I will backtrack a little and say he's bi-curious, but mostly just gay. Like, he's mostly just a homosexual. But I think he is curious about what women are like to be with. And so, all good, man. You know, water under the bridge. But here's the thing. He's saying that it's crazy for me to say not to wear a muzzle. Guys, the World Health Organization themselves say that masks do nothing. In fact, it's a breeding ground for bacteria. It's really unhealthy to wear a mask. Really unhealthy. It's like wearing a diaper on your face. And it holds, like, for example, if you take a breathalyzer, and it says how much alcohol is in your breath, right? That's why it's called a breathalyzer. And feel free to send this to Lift the Veil. I accept his apology. No harm, no foul, my friend. I'm sure you're only bi-curious, leaning towards men. But if you think it's a really bad idea for me to tell people not to wear a muzzle, let me explain. When you breathe out, if you're drunk, there's alcohol in your breath because it's a waste product. And so coming from a guy named Lift the Veil, who's trying to lower it, imagine if you lift a veil and there's a diaper on your face. Pretty funny. I bet he's watching. Yeah, he's disgusting. He's probably, I don't even want to think about what he's doing, but he's a flirt. He's a real flirt. I see
Again,
it.
self-projection
and
bear.
another thing for the lift the veil guy. My friend who has his PhD in nuclear physics, scientist, he posted this. It's hilarious. Go over and give him some love, by the way. Show him some love. He's a good dude. Science has found something that works better than a mask in washing your hands. It's a special magnet collar that traps coronavirus so that it cannot enter the lungs. I hope these are required soon. Can't be too safe. He missed an O on the two, but he's like 170 IQ math guy, but I don't think he can spell. He's like me. So I'm curious if Nathan from Lift the Veil would think it would be horrible advice for me to tell people not to wear a neck magnet. I want to know how many dudes Nathan's been with. No, I'm not going to go down that road. He did apologize. It's all good. So, guys, just to let you guys know
self-projection.
it's really good advice for me to tell people not to wear a gag. What Nathan from Lift the Veil wants his audience to do, not just allow him to do things to them, but he's saying it's the worst advice ever for me to tell people not to wear cloth over your face that gets your spit all day long. And then you go from room to room to room to room. So any biohazard you're exposed to will collect on a gag around your mouth. And you're breathing your own exhale. Exhale, just like, I wonder if Nathan from Lift the Veil wants his audience to drink his own piss. Drink their own piss, because you drink water, go, and then you pee it out. And then would you then drink your piss? I'm sure his answer is yes, because I'm guessing he's into some pretty wet.
Owen is a piss drinker. Confirmed. Another Freudian slip there. Anyway, yeah, that's Anyway, yeah, you can see why I've kind of taken a break from Owen here for the past couple weeks, but yeah. This guy though has things have gotten weird with him. I'll just say that. That's the easiest way to what else can I say, folks? It's Owen Benjamin. But at any rate, folks, I want to thank you, for tuning in tonight. I'll be back here in just like 5 minutes for, I guess, hour 3 of the show. I'll be joining Sean and Alex and Donnie over on Versa Media's channel, and I will simulcast here as well. So, folks, I want to thank you very much for watching this stream, and I will be back. But for those of you who, aren't going to catch that, I'll see you on Thursday. I do encourage you to watch, to come back here and watch the Versa Media multi-stream, because I think it's good. But again, I will definitely have the audio podcast version up tomorrow. And then I will also be doing the audio podcast again on Thursday. Gonna start that up again. But yeah, folks, at any rate, from all of us here at NGC Studios, have a good night. God bless. God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy in that order. And I will see most of you, hopefully, for the 3rd hour of the show. Thanks, and God bless.